UK space commander, and he's just delivered an address at the Royal United Services Institute, and he's describing the era that we are in as being a new space age, and the importance of outer space in global affairs as being never more evident, no longer just a frontier for scientific exploration. He says space is now a domain of strategic, economic, and political competition. And he goes on to say that the national dependency on space is being increasingly being held at risk by space risks and threats. So he's straight away suggesting that there are going to be problems down the track. He's saying that there are over 80 nations with space projects. And critically here, and this goes straight back to what Patrick's just been saying about Trump, he says access is no longer enough. We must be able to control space, defend our assets, and, if required, deny its use to hostile actors. Well, he qualifies it, or at least attempts to, by saying no one wants a war in space, and it is certainly not inevitable, whilst at the same time, I would say, making it sound as though it is pretty much inevitable. He says that we've been working across government as one space, so the same language, despite the fact that we're in a somewhat different arena, and talking about effective governance, of course he is. But he does say that we're not going to do this alone, and I think this is a critical part of it. Space is the ultimate team sport, so being clear on what needs to be nationally separable capabilities to assure effect and provide us strategic autonomy. Now, I won't go on and overquote what he says, but a critical part of this is the fact that in order to do all this, he is completely and utterly reliant upon corporations, and he has no control over what they're going to do, or indeed how they're going to regard him and his plans in the future. But he still continues with this extremely hostile language. He talks about deterring and to endure a first mover strike, and only if necessary fight through and win. So this is incredible language, really. But it coincides with an announcement about high-altitude balloons, which again are being considered to be a defence capability. And they say that they're developing uncrewed high-altitude balloons to conduct intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance missions. And again, here we go, the same old refrain, boosting national security and delivering on the government's plan for change. Now, the future use of balloons could, they say, support operations and reliable communication, as well as providing information for weather forecasting and climate research. So the sense that defence and meteorology are intertwined is, of course, something we've talked about quite a lot in the past, but interesting to see that it crops up here. And the other thing I would like to draw your attention to is that the nuclear deterrent video here shown on screen has just been re-released by the government, literally in the last couple of days. And one might question, given again what Patrick's just said and the rhetoric that's coming out of Space Command, why exactly, in the shadow of the Strategic Defence Review, of course, published within the last month, why all this would be coming out now. Now, the other thing to draw your attention to, which again is very much related to this, is Skynet. And I reported on Skynet 5 last year, described as a satellite communications capability. But now we're on the next iteration, which of course is Skynet 6. And it says that it will adhere to the concept of allied by design. And this is something that David Ellis wrote on for UK Columns some years ago. To understand where it's all come from, you can go and engage with that. But they say that it's going to have continued engagement with NATO through the Five Eyes, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, UK and US, and other mission partners. Now, going back to the teamwork element, the vulnerabilities of these sorts of programs are monumental because, of course, the Skynet capability is being developed and manufactured by Airbus and Space UK and is scheduled for launch, like all the other things, by SpaceX in 2027. So if the wind changed direction and Elon Musk decides that he doesn't actually want to support this anymore, then the entire operation is dead in the water. And I would just sort of, to create a little bit of thought on this, I just draw your attention to the fact that Israel are talking about a successful launch for their Draw-1, the national communication satellite, which of course has been enabled by SpaceX. So it's very easy to see how by inviting people to get involved, which they do at the bottom of their guidance about this, what sort of people will be coming forward and for why. So something I think we'll talk about more.
Will the operation be dead in the water, Charles, or will Elon Musk be dead in the water?
Well, there we are.
Does he have an option?
That's an extremely good question and a very good question. But just the element of corporate controls, again, something we've talked about a lot before, it is phenomenal, and it seems to be overlooked. It's never actually addressed. The assumption is made that this will just happen.
And just quickly, Elon Musk boasted that he provides the backbone for the Ukrainian military on the front line with Starlink. So without Starlink, there's no Ukrainian military can't do any of what they've been doing against Russia. So it is really pivotal. And that's just one operation where they're using this and deploying this. It's happening all around the world.
Yeah.